right, good morning all. Thank you, Matt, for the kickoff today. I can't promise I'll be any more engaging than that start. There's lots of challenges for our industry, but I would like to echo what Mar led us off with. Thank you for traveling here for Art Connect. These events are my favorite part of being in this industry and being part of the ARC team. And so I get an opportunity today to talk a little bit about our product strategy and how that's being responsive to what we hear from you all and from what Matt spoke about in terms of the imperatives for our industry. And so the theme for today and this morning really is about how is ArcXP transforming AI to be a creative partner for media. And my view is that AI isn't replacing creativity. We've talked a lot about commoditization of content when AI just generates it without a human voice. And so we really believe it's less about AI replacing the newsroom, more augmenting and partnering with our teams to tell great stories. As I thought about the industry conferences I've been at over the last 2 years, at things like INMA, WANIFRA, here at Art Connect in New York, Art Connect London, NAB, IBC, when I thought about the conversations I've had around my dinner table with my son who's studying computer science in college, I've really seen this theme reemerge over and over again, where there's a subtext, and I don't think we've figured out whether AI is our friend or our foe as we go forward. And there's a couple different lenses to ask this from. There's the lens of our media businesses. Is AI and OpenAI and chatbots, are they helping us or hurting us? If we think about our newsrooms and storytellers, do they feel like AI is their friend and assistant or something that's threatening their jobs? And then for each of us, when we think about ourselves and our careers and what we do as executives or developers or storytellers, there is an existential question. Is AI going to take our job? Where is the path for us? And that's one of the things my son I mentioned earlier. He called me midway through his freshman year, studying computer science. He said, "Dad, I'm not going to have a job. Why am I learning to code? What do I do?" And as those of us who are parents, we never have good advice. So on the fly, I said, you know what? Lean in and be the best student using these AI tools. That's what you should do in this moment. But I still have a pit in my stomach about what it's going to be like for him 2 years from now when he graduates. Will there be jobs for that computer scientist? So I think there's a lot of tension that we all feel personally in our businesses and in our newsrooms. And I'd actually like to start by asking all of you to give me your perspective from those three angles. So I'd like you to raise your hand if you think AI is a friend to your media company. So we got some hands there. How many feel it's a foe or an enemy of your business? Not too many hands here. Michael, thank you for admitting that. How about to your newsrooms and storytellers? How many of them see AI as a friend to what they do day in and day out today? Almost no one. That tells me we got a lot of hands for newsrooms are scared, afraid. They see AI as a nightmare, perhaps. Individually, how many of you see your life getting better and your careers amplified by AI? Most of us are raising our hand, and that's where I come down on this. I think there's a lot of opportunity for us to do things we never could have done before with the power of AI. So from ArcXP's perspective, the real question isn't whether it's a friend or foe, but how do we make AI a partner? How do we make it both a friend while recognizing the competitive threat? I wanted to reiterate Matt's slide that the context we're all living in is media businesses challenged by declining revenue. We were talking about Google Zero a year ago. Thankfully, it didn't happen as quickly as we thought it might, but we still see evidence of that decline being pretty stark. We see AI not bringing in the referral traffic. This morning we were talking with some customers that are seeing 0.5% of flow through when someone gets an answer from an open AI. And then finally, the expectations of UX are changing from consumers. This is what I'm most excited about. 2 years ago at NAB, we had a slide here where we were talking about our vision that AI, if it really just could replace your newsroom, your news wasn't good to begin with. I hear this more and more today. When I was with Sky News in the UK earlier this year, they made the point that premium content's what they're about. Vinny at the Washington Post believes this strongly. All of you create premium content. The last thing we want to do is give up that advantage and have commodity content created by AI on our behalf. So audiences have kind of chosen what they'd like to see. While our businesses, our newsrooms might be focused on the Audience 1.0 model, Matt's correct that the audiences themselves have moved to Audience 3.0. And I reiterate these slides because it informs the product strategy at ARC. And as Matt mentioned, we really want to hear your feedback. I've heard a lot of commentary that most people actually believe we're in Audience 2.0 as an industry. I think we're being generous to ourselves. But regardless, the audience itself has moved to Audience 3.0. 2 weeks ago, I had the opportunity to be in San Francisco at an INMA event. And this was in the wrap-up talking about INMA's Media and Tech and AI Week. So after a week of spending time with Google, with Microsoft, OpenAI, Anthropic, Amazon, talking about what's happening, there was a set of questions posed. Questions about, do we need the human voice? Is the business model that we need to cut deals with these vendors today in order to save our businesses tomorrow? And the reason I bring this up is I think a lot of these questions perceived AI as a threat. And I think it is important for us to take a more positive view if we're going to get the benefit of this new technology. And so actually in the recap at the end of the day, after a lot of presenters spoke about the opportunities with things like simple licensing agreements, things with Tollbit doing traffic management, things about bot management, the opportunity to do great storytelling, there was a set of takeaways that really Jody summed up in an incredible way. And she called it really a content revolution is what we're part of. To me, this is what Audience 3.0 and what ArcXP is aiming for. We really see the future of media and journalism lies in a liquid content model. This is our proxy for hyper-personalization. Distinctive, human stories that adapt easily. She saw a focus first on your owned networks. Matt mentioned own your audience as one of our 3 pillars of our product strategy. Finally, we saw a move away from fixed ideas about length, format, and tone, and a uniqueness of brand experience. I think there's a lot of, we're all in journalism for a reason. I believe in the power of storytelling to change the world. We have dedicated newsrooms that have been trained on the pillars of what it means to be a great journalist, seeking truth, seeking to make sure you do the fact-checking, having a perspective on the world and bringing that forward in the coverage. But I think what's been lost is that along the way, our workflows have become quite rigid. And I've seen time and time again, when I've visited newsrooms over the last 2 decades, when I talk to you all, that our newsrooms aren't as progressive as they could be when it comes to the workflow. And I think we've fallen in love as an industry with the current format that we publish in, whether that's a broadcast rundown, whether that's a homepage coming out of a paper. And so the content revolution demands that we double down on the journalistic standards, but give up a little bit in terms of the form that it's taken. And I think that's something as leaders we need to unlock the value of our newsrooms to see that if they atomize their content and go to the actual facts and pieces of that story and be comfortable with having that being transformed into what the audience wants, that's the vision that we really think can unlock Audience 3.0. So for me, the future is not about automated storytelling. We're really in an age of elevated storytelling. And we get the opportunity to be a part of a technology revolution, a media revolution, where the audience becomes part of the story. So for me, clearly an optimistic tone is what I'd like to set, despite us being in a challenged industry. An industry where I honestly believe if we don't change our newsrooms, our format, our workflows, and our business models, many of you may not be in business to be at these tables a couple of years from now. And as Matt said, that's why we're here at ArcXP, part of the Washington Post. We want to enable all of you to have thriving media businesses. But it's also a fun time. There's a lot of exciting parts of AI. So when I think of what it looks like to me of how can we elevate our storytelling, how can AI be a partner, I think of that sizzle reel that we began the day with. And I'm forever embarrassed when our marketing team videos me and puts me on LinkedIn and whatever. But I was playing with Sora the other day, and I thought about, how could this help me tell the story of what ArcXP Connect is about. And it was able to, within
Welcome
just
to
a
Our
couple
Connect New
words, generate something that was way beyond what one could imagine. And of course, my kids and my wife commented it was kind enough to make it look like I'd gone on a bit of a diet. But it's pretty exciting what you can do with these tools. And I think that embodies where this new generation's going. The potential for us to use AI to have the same core message, but do it in a form that's much more exciting and vibrant. So, as Matt mentioned, we've challenged ArcXP as an operating system to go beyond the core features you've enjoyed for many years, to focus on 3 pillars of innovating rapidly, helping you to own your audience, and establishing independent revenue models. And the work Joey Marburger has done to invent the ArcXP intelligence platform is really the magic sauce that's come together over the last couple of years. We recently announced that the API is available. It's not in beta. It is fully available for you to use now. You can check out all the docs. So anything you see that we do in ArcXP with the AI editor is available in that API. When Matt mentions that Ask the News is coming out, it'll be in the API. So we've really put a halo around ArcXP's core platform with the AI assistant and intelligence platform. But the end goal of everything we do in our product strategy is to these 3 aims. And when we think about transforming media with AI, we've seen kind of a journey where a couple of years ago, Joey and I sat with this slide and we said, okay, we think step 1, that's going to be tuning up the workflow. We thought step 2 would be automated workflows with agents. And then finally, someday, maybe we'd get to step 3, which was new consumer experiences. And Vineet beat us to the punch. He went straight to step 3, invented Ask the Post. And that's why we actually have all 3 of these layers in the platform today. As Matt mentioned, we see our customers taking advantage of the workflow enhancements, not changing their workflow, but tuning it up in real meaningful ways. I don't think this gets our industry there, those tune-ups, but it's an important step. We see that our AI services for media is a full platform that you can innovate with us, that our partners can. You know, I'm humble enough, as is my product team, to know that we can't build it all. That's why you've noticed ArcXP is far more open over the last couple of years, with edge integrations, with partnerships with the likes of Datadome, with great integrators that are in the room today that can build on top of that platform. We've seen the AI editor, with all of these key prompts and the fine-tuning behind it, really take off in newsrooms. We monitor the activity. The Washington Post itself has done a lot of work recently to come up with their own custom prompts. We're thinking about how can we deploy those actions to different parts and different desks of the newsroom. So lots of excitement happening around the AI editor. Our second phase, though, really around agents, is finally becoming real. My product team's at the cusp of releasing what we call the AI assistant within Composer that truly under the hood is calling into a set of agentic workflows. What do those look like? Well, it looks like this, where you can imagine a journalist working on their story and in real time, a swarm of agents in the background doing copy editing, doing enrichment, actually adding the tags they think will maximize SEO. We've done a lot of work to design this with all of your help to make sure we identify the parts of the story that came from AI versus the one from a human. We've done a lot of work with vector technology, so when we get a recommendation, it's spot on. It's not only spot on for tags, it's spot on for media. It's spot on for the videos that might be a good fit for it. But we allow in this design the human to stay in control and in the loop so that we can help our newsrooms to adopt this technology. I don't think this is the end of the journey. Some of you as our customers have pushed it further. You've pushed it to where 80% of the workflow is automated by agents. I don't think most of our newsrooms and storytellers are ready for that world yet. So part of this design is really a ramp to help you get your newsroom to be willing to think about the atoms of content and less about the output. So super excited that this is going to be launching soon. Keep your eyes peeled, so to speak, for alpha and beta opportunities to get involved. Ultimately, we do believe ROI is being deployed, as Matt mentioned. This isn't true for all industries. Some of you may have seen the MIT report earlier this year that actually media is different. Most industries fail with the ROI on AI. I think MIT published was like 94, 95% of AI projects last year failed to deliver the ROI they expected. We're hearing something different from media, and I think it's because this technology is such a great fit for what we do. Hyper-personalization, This is how we hope to reach Audience 3.0. As Matt mentioned, our vision is not cohorts. Our vision is not just for you recommendations, although we'll deliver that soon enough. Our vision is not just homepage layouts and mobile screens of infinite scrolling. Instead, it's that every consumer gets the benefit of what you know about them, about your audience, so when they read that story or view that story or hear that story or perhaps are immersive in that story in VR, it feels real to them. And the hard work our journalists did comes through to have a valuable premium content experience. At IBC earlier this year, I was struck by this quote from one of the leading broadcasters in Sweden, that really recognizing that historically the industry has had an inside-out approach. We've started with our content with what our journalists want to see, or our technology can do, what our MAMs can do, our DAMs can do, what we can do in the CDN. And flipping the script to say, no, we need to start with the consumer, that is what we're really passionate about at ArcXP and the Washington Post, and we think that's what's required. So I was inspired to see Lena speak about this, into really starting with the viewer's needs and expectations first, and then working backwards. It kind of parallels how we do our product development process at ARC, where we don't begin with a line of code. We begin with a PR FAQ. And for those of you that are familiar with that process, it's actually we start with the press release of how we're going to announce the feature, and we work our way back. I see the same analogy for our industry, adding a lot of value. Matt mentioned we're bringing Ask the News. Why it really matters is hyper-personalization and an example of us using AI-powered consumer experiences. So lots to do here. It is an experiment of sorts. We've learned a lot about our audience. We've learned a lot about UX. Vinita's improving this every day. Please install the Washington Post app to see what he's doing and then demand from me that it shows up in ArcXP. He wants to keep the pressure on. But it's really an important aspect. Another place you'll see it is an AI content moderation. So here's another experience that's in production today where we're using AI to improve the community around a story. One of the insights I heard from a CEO in the spring was, all this time is crafting and investing in premium content. But the moment it goes out, it actually gets monetized and engaged off platform, on Insta, on Facebook, on Snapchat. And we need to get that audience to be back engaging with the story directly on platform. That's how we own our audience. One way we can do that, we've got a great ace up our sleeve with these comments, but we've let them kind of deteriorate. Maybe we've accepted that the community around our articles is just not going to be a good place to be. The Post has a different vision. We believe AI can actually make it a healthy community for everyone to engage with. And so what we did was we had this problem where we had a manual process around curating the content. We put AI to the task, and Vinit's team was able to take really a big step change. We're only 3 to 5% of the junk garbage contents that were making a poor community. We jumped and filtered out 15 to 20%. Then we did some innovation around summarizing what were the insights. And last night at dinner, we were talking about that many of our readers now, before they look at what's on the homepage, before they look at anything in the article, they're actually looking to see how many comments there are in the article. And the first thing they read is not the headline. They go into the comments and see the summary. They want the engagement. They want the community around the story that we're doing. So if we can do that on platform, I think that's a great opportunity. As I mentioned, we've got an incredible AI API built for media. Joey and his team have really innovated here. It's battle tested. We see many of you using it already indirectly. And we hope you start using it more directly through IFX so you can take advantage of vector content, the APIs, the prompt management, the security, the observability. And I also want to do a shout out. I know we've got several members of LP in the room today. And this is a great example where this project really began hand in hand with them. We did an innovation exchange with LP 2 years ago now. Joey spent a lot of time with meetings with Stan, visiting them in Paris to get this right. And you might say, wow, the 2 years is a long time, Joe. And it is, but this was a hard challenge. And what we found was those early ideas that we had, they were focused on things like fine tuning, where technology actually moved faster, and we decided that wasn't as important once we had the vector database. So that stacked strategy that Joey deployed means that all of you have access now truly to an AI API built for media. So in closing, I do want to highlight that we believe a new reality needs a new approach. You need more than a CMS to get Audience 3.0. We want to help you innovate rapidly, own your audience, and grow independent revenue. We want to connect storytelling with the audience and do it in a way that grows your business. And finally, I do want to close by saying I don't think AI is a friend or a foe. It is your partner. Let's use it together as an industry to elevate our game, to reconnect with our audiences, and have fun while doing it. And I want to see some great content coming out of all the innovation in your teams. So I think we're just about out of time. I saw Jen come up and give me a wink. So I appreciate you listening to a little bit of the product strategy. You have my contact information. If you don't have my cell phone, drop me a note. We love hearing not only the feedback, but the business problems you see. We are taking a big stake here in terms of our point of view for the media industry. We think that's important in this moment. And I thank you for the opportunity to be here to support your media businesses. Please let me know how we can do a better job. Thank you for being here at our Connect.